everybody. So happy to see all of you all my friends, colleagues, my professors, and all the parents after so long in this pandemic. I'm Nikita Kirane. I'm a speech language pathologist, and today I will be presenting on tele-speech therapy in autism. Okay, so let's just look at the webinar prospectus. So the prospectus of the webinar today are American Speech and Language Association, that is ASHA's views towards telepractice. The group that ASHA has created, which is called a SIG-18, which is specially for telepractice. Telepractice in autism, so what exactly are the procedures that are involved for us to conduct telepractice? And a question that is, should we continue with telepractice even post the COVID-19 pandemic? So before starting with the actual presentation, I want to just present two myths that I have come across when I was making this presentation and doing all the research. The two common myths were, the first one was that people say that telepractice is like a band-aid over the idea that we cannot actually provide on-site services. So most of them said that, oh, now there is pandemic, so we can't go for on-site services, and that is why we are turning to telepractice. So two main points that will make all of us agree with the point that we believe in this myth is that most of us have turned to telepractice only after the COVID-19 pandemic has completely made us disabled to provide on-site services. And unfortunately, even though we want to agree or not, most of us will stop delivering telepractice as soon as the COVID pandemic is over and we can go out there and provide services. So these are the two things that will make us believe in this myth. Okay, so the second myth is that it can be done only for adults, or it can be done only for patients who do not have any kind of sitting problems. They can sit for as long as possible. So this is the second myth that I came across when I was doing research on what people think about telepractice. And so today's presentation of mine will be the goal of my presentation will be to dissolve these myths and to provide to my viewers and my audience that telepractice is a very good method of service delivery. So let's see what ASHA has to say about telepractice. So ASHA says that telepractice is an appropriate model for service delivery for the profession of speech language pathology and for audiology. It has also made a very good video on telepractice, so we will have a look at the video that ASHA has made.
Telepractice is a service delivery method that uses technology, in this case to deliver audiology or speech language pathology services to a child or an adult who is physically in a different location than an audiologist or speech language pathologist, and who, as a result, might otherwise not have access to services from a qualified provider.
As telepractice allows us to move service delivery into the home, it opens new doors for family involvement. The kids respond to telepractice very well. They're very excited and motivated and driven by the use of technology, and they love to come to their speech and language therapy sessions.
How did you hear that? Through the years, research outcomes from telepractice studies have shown that from both a clinical standing as well as a patient satisfaction standing, outcomes are consistent with a face-to-face traditional service delivery model. And that spans different ages, different patient populations, and different treatment delivery settings.
A key barrier or constraint to delivering services through telepractice is, interestingly enough, state licensing. Most states require a practitioner to be licensed in the location where the client is receiving the service. So if telepractice is occurring across state lines, that would mean that the practitioner would need to be licensed, obviously not only in the state where they're located, but also in the state where the client to whom they're delivering the service is located. So the credentialing system is one that needs to go through some changes in order to enable and support the delivery of telepractice services.
Everything that I did within my lesson today was the same that I would do on site, with the exception that the student was not right there with me. Good job. My students are all making very good progress on their speech and language goals.
Again, using your good R sound.
We're currently doing telepractice using articulation, language, fluency, voice. So really, it's been effective in all areas for us. Telepractice has been very effective with my group therapy sessions. The kids like coming to speech together. They're motivated. They help support one another, and they like using the technology together.
It looks and feels exactly like SLP services that we would see when we're sitting in a classroom.
I communicate with my teachers by phone calls and emails, so I'm able to check in, see how they're doing in the classroom, if there are any additional things we might need to work on.
Telepractice can take place wherever a client is located, in a school, could be at their home, a hospital, a nursing facility, or any other number of settings.
As technology's become a lot more pervasive in all walks of life, we have patients who are in their 70s or 80s who come to us who've already been using video conference to see their grandkids, for example. So these are patients who are very comfortable with technology.
When Mr. Woods began therapy, he had significant difficulty in basic conversation. So he was talking 1 or 2 words at a time, but not at a conversational level. And that was a goal for him. We were very quickly able to adapt tasks to meet his progress. We were able to address both the verbal component of it as well as the written component of it by using the structure of the computer to be able to support everything that we were doing.
Well, they developed a special bond that was unbelievable, how she was able to get him to connect the dots. And the relationship that we had just via the computer, it was like we knew her.
Family member availability to is a challenge. It's a burden for a lot of families to have to stop what they're doing and take a family member to an appointment. So this availability of just simply dialing into someone's home and meeting them where they are rather than asking them to stop and come to us is, again, another big advantage of the teleformat.
Increasingly, telepractice services are being paid for. So some of the trends that we're noting are that more and more insurers are aware of and recognizing the cost effectiveness as well as the access and quality benefits associated with telepractice. We're also noticing that a growing number of states are mandating coverage for telepractice in their broad state health service policies. Medicaid offices are also adding coverage for telepractice services. So there definitely is a growing recognition and trend to cover those services.
I think the rationale for telepractice from its beginning has never really changed. We wanted to improve access to care. We wanted to improve efficiencies. We wanted to decrease cost. Over time, with advances in technologies, the way we do this, it's just gotten so much easier. So it's no longer an issue of how. We know what we want to do. We know why we should do it. So it's really just a matter now of why not.
I was watching the things that he was doing, and every step of progress that he made, I was just overwhelmed. The tears, just knowing that my husband is back.
Well, it's fun for me because I love working with children. So whether it be on site through telepractice, I enjoy my job. And so on site, I'm going to give them a high five. Through telepractice, I'm giving a long distance high five.
So that was Asha's video about telepractice. Now, when we saw this video, we came across a lot of terms like the state and the federal laws and a lot of licensure and a lot of insurance policies which they have in place, which we do not have. So they have a lot of rules, a lot of do's and don'ts, which are not available in India as of now. And so it is, but they have about 6 rules which I think are very important for us. And so let's just go through them. So they are the state definitions, the initial encounter, allowable services, informed consent, security and inscription, and the location of the clinician and the client. So out of all these 6 also, the 4 of them, which are 2, 3, 4, and 5 are really, really important. So let's talk about that. So when I say initial encounter, I mean the first time, the very first time that you are seeing the patient. The states over there, they have different states say different things. Some states say that you have to see the person, the patient in person for the very first time. Some other states that say that it's okay to see the patient for the first time on the video on telepractice. So that's what first encounter, initial encounter means. The second, we talk about what they some states say that you can perform only treatment through telepractice. Some others say that you can perform you know, assessments, treatments, as well as counseling sessions through telepractice without any issue. So those are difference of laws again. Okay. The next one is security and encryption. So that is what is if the video gets leaked or anything happens to the video or it is used elsewhere by any other professional, then what should be done to keep the security and the privacy of the patient? And that is what is about security and encryption. So although I know that these things are not in place as of now for us, as individual professions, when we are starting with telepractice, we ourselves can decide whether we want to, do the initial session through telepractice or we want to do it in person. What are we comfortable with? The second thing, whether we want to do the assessments through telepractice or we are just fine doing only treatment. So, and how we really going to keep the security of the patient. So these things we need to start answering for ourselves. Even though there is no proper law in there, we cannot really overlook these things. We can do things for ourselves and keep documenting so that whenever the law sets up, we can, show up those things. Okay. So going on to the SIG 18 of telepractice. So SIG 18 is a special interest group, that is SIG, Special Interest Division Group, which is 18 number, which is delivered only for telepractice. So if you open up ASHA page, this is you will see something like this, and you will see various articles, events, memberships, a lot of ongoing research which is updated over there, so you can keep yourself updated through this page. This page is for members only, so the professionals who are non-members, you can join a similar page to this which is on Facebook and keep yourself updated. Okay, so coming to the Indian scenario, so till now we spoke about ASHA and America and all of that, but where exactly is India in the whole run of telepractice? So it's not that we have not done any telepractice. We have, of course, done telepractice, but there isn't enough research and enough evidence which is done in India. So there are a few papers which you can see over here. They are really less comparison to studies being done abroad. And so this is a field that I think we should take up and start looking into it, even research-wise, clinical-wise, in all aspects. So another thing that I feel is that the youngsters in our fields, the youngsters in SLPs, need to really dedicate themselves to telepractice because they have the advantage and the bonus of being very cumbersome with the technology and being able to use it very easily as compared to the ones more difficult. So the youngsters should take the opportunity of taking the practice ahead. If that happens, then the Indian scenario will also, progress in this aspect. Okay, so this is an interesting slide. So this is a game which is currently trending the most. So I specifically put this slide to raise a small question. We all played Ludo, Magic. And so if we can play Ludo online, we can use Ludo to as a reinforcement in our therapy if we can share it across with the child. So it can be one game that where you deliver services. So another slide that I've put, if you all remember, this was one of the most significant games which was there by default in the Windows 7, I think. And I think all of us have played, and we have to click on these small squares. And if you get a digit, it's amazing. And if you don't, then you die. So a similar game has been used for telepractice, like you can see over here. So we'll see a video where this is a child with very minimal symptoms of autism, and the clinician is working on his articulation. You can see in this picture, the child is actually in a car. He's traveling in a car and he is doing telepractice, which is amazing. And of course, if the sensory needs are met, if the child is not distracted, if everything is going fine, then we can do this. Otherwise, we need to do it in a more stable environment. So we will just see that video.
Now we're going to say chocolate. My favorite candy is chocolate. Good job. You got it. Good case today. Next word is helicopter. Good one. The helicopter flew high. Good job. Oh no. Oh no. Next word is lake. Good. L too. We went to the lake. Good job.
Okay, so in this way, so one turn and one task and one turn and one task. If we do it that way, then it's fun, and the child will be interested, and we will be doing good therapy. So, all right, so those were a lot of fantastic videos, but then you will say, what about the steps? We don't reach there directly. So for the ones who've been doing teletherapy, they know all of these steps. For the ones who are starting new or are in the initial stages, it will help you. I hope it will help you. Okay, so let's go to the requirements. So the clinician requirements are a stable internet, a laptop or an iPad. I've specifically not put a mobile over here because ASHA says that you should not use a mobile for the reason of security, and the screen is really small. So you should not use it. But we do have exceptions where the parents don't have, they are from a low socioeconomic group, so they don't have a laptop, or they have only one laptop which is being used at that time, and so it's not available. So then I think we have to make exceptions. Then is the video conferencing software. That's the software that you will actually use to make the video call. So the software. Then is the online or the soft copy of the assessment material. I think this, most of us have started documenting a lot of these materials. We have VABs and other language assessments which are in soft copy. So I think this we have. The difficult part, I think, is over here, that the treatment material being online. So most of us are used to the treatment material in a box, or we remove it from a cupboard. So being online is a little, it's new. So this is something that we need to, I think, collect. Okay, so the patient's requirements are, again, a stable internet, a laptop, a video conferencing software. What changes is an on-site helper. What I mean by an on-site helper is you need someone to be with the patient. So if the patient is really young, this on-site helper will be actually doing most of the job. So for example, the on-site helper is usually the parents. So the clinician will be telling the parents what to do, how to do, and they will be actually delivering the service. On the other hand, if the child is a little older, then the on-site helper needs to, that is again the parents, will be just sitting by the side and monitoring as to whether the child is doing right or not. So that is the job of an on-site helper, but you definitely need an on-site helper. And again, you need the patients need treatment material on their side too. So the patients, if the child is very small, they will probably need toys and other sensory requirement toys or other material of that sort. If the child is fairly old and the material is more on the screen presented by the clinician, then probably just a pen and a book is good for the patient. Okay, so we were talking about video conferencing software, so let's just talk about it a little more in detail. So you can see that there are two softwares open over here. Over here you can see that the child is comparatively younger than this child. I had to block it for security reasons. So this is a female of about 9 to 10 years old, and this of course is a toddler. So you can see the difference in the software when they are doing the telepractice. Over here we just need two screens. The mother needs to see the clinician, and the clinician needs to see the mother and the child. But over here it's far more complicated. The patient and the clinician need to see each other. Plus, there is a whole screen given to the material that needs to be presented to the child. So the kind of software that you will require for both will be different. So what are the softwares that we are using as of now? I think a lot of us are using WhatsApp video calls and Skype is what I hear from. Although I understand that most of the patients may not have the devices that need the higher versions of these softwares, but still I want to just give what ASHA says. So it says that we are not supposed to use these softwares because of security reasons, because we hear it all the time that videos from WhatsApp get leaked and all of that. So for that reason, we should not use WhatsApp. So what they say is that we can use Zoom, WebEx, GoToMeeting, and video. So these are the video conferencing softwares that we can use. The reason why we want to use it is because it provides clinical flexibility. That's another reason why we want to use it, other than the security. What I mean by clinical flexibility is that the clinician should be able to regulate the patient side of the screen when the session is going on. That means that if I'm playing a game with the patient, let's say I'm playing Ludo with the patient, and he's not behaving right, then I should be able to end the game from his screen as well as mine. Also, if the patient is getting distracted just looking at himself, like as of now, maybe I'm looking at myself and that might just distract me, then I should be able to disable his side of the camera. So that does not mean that I can't see him. I can see him, but he cannot see himself. So that does not distract him. So that provides clinical flexibility. So what are the other things that provide clinical flexibility is a share screen. Like as of now, I have this presentation playing in my laptop, but you can see it. So the screen is getting shared. At the same time, you can also see, you can also use a whiteboard. So a lot of times if you are doing an assessment where the patient needs to write, or like we saw in the video, the adult patient circled something. So if you're doing any kind of task where the patient needs to write, then a whiteboard is very helpful. So these softwares give you those options, and that is why they are better. Okay, so let's go to the steps of how to work with a non-verbal child who has a poor sitting tolerance. So how do we actually start therapy on telepractice with this child? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to keep the laptop or your phone far away where it does not keep disturbing, okay? But at the same time, the clinician gets a view of both the patient and the parent. Whatever I am saying, we'll see it in a video, so it makes much more sense, but you can just hear it as of now and then see it. So you want to keep the laptop in a place where the child cannot handle it. The second thing is, if you feel that the clinician's image on the laptop is really hampering the child's attention, then we as clinicians, we can disable our video. Okay, we can disable the video so that we can still see the patient, but the patient is not able to see us, and so he's not distracted. Okay, another thing that can be done is Bluetooth headphones. So since I said the on-site helper, which is mostly the parents, so they can use Bluetooth headphones, so they can have the laptop or the phone away, and they can sit with the child, and we can keep telling them how to modify the activity, how to do it right. Or if they're doing it right, we can say that, okay, it's perfect, so you can go on with it. So that way you can use Bluetooth headphones to monitor the activity. So this is what I meant, that the clinician is being seen, and the clinician is able to see the child and the parent and what activity they are doing. What else do you want to see? You want to make sure that if your child is too fidgety, you want to plan an activity of movement so that he does not get really disturbed and end the session right there without doing any of the activities. And if you feel that your goal or your activity requires the child to be in one place, you can put the child on a cycle or a swing or a rocking horse or a rocking chair so that the child is stable. He's still in one place, he still has movement, and so you can do the activities. So one thing I want to say is that even though I said that the Bluetooth should be on and you can tell the mother what to do and what not, it is best that if you're working with young children, very young children, then it is best that you use the first 10 to 15 minutes of your session to prepare the mother what material you will need, what activities you have planned, and what exactly is she supposed to do and in what formation. So do you want her to present the cards 3 times and then give him a break, or you want him to present the cards 5 times and then give him? So what is the strategy that you have planned that you want the mother to do? So don't tell the mother all these strategies when she is in action, because that might just confuse her. What you actually want to tell her when she is in action is the fine motor things, that okay, maybe you want to put the card a little away, maybe you want to put the card a little closer. So those kind of fine things you want to tell, not the whole activity as such. All right, so we'll see this video. This is it gives light on how we should work on very young children.
Daughter, and a little bit more language. Play with her. What we're doing, we're painting on the paper. We're making a pretty picture. On the paper. Did you drop it? Can you find it? Good. Can you make little dots? Let's go. Ready? Dot, dot, dot. You do. That's a nice invitation.
Okay, so you could see that the clinician could see the parent and the mother, and the activity went quite well. Okay. So going on to how do we work with verbal children? So for example, if my child is much higher than the level that we just saw, and I'm working on maybe the syntax of the child or the prepositions, or on building longer sentences, and if I want to do activities which are on the screen, if the child has good sitting behavior, then what do we do? So in that case, we need to have maximum access to online games, which we can use as online therapy or play therapy. Then we need to have maximum access to online therapy material, which are other than games, which are particularly speech therapy material. We need video conferencing software which allows clinical flexibility, because since we are playing a game, we need to understand that we might have to just stop it if it goes out of control. So we need that kind of a software. And we need an online on-site helper to monitor the patient's behavior. So let's see another video where this child is older. So over here, the clinician is working on the comprehension task of the child. So she will read out this passage, which is presented in front of the child's screen, and then she will be asking questions. So let's see that.
Learn to walk. Every time he would see a dog, he would want to go by them. One of his first words after Dada was dog. What were the first words that Peter learned to say? Mama, Dada. Now, you say that in a full sentence. Say your answer in a full sentence. The first words that Peter learned to say for Mama and Dad.
Okay, so it gets far more interesting if we do it in this manner through online therapy. Okay. So next we will see what is the need of an on-site helper. So in in a little elder children who with autism, they may have a lot of attention problems, and we'll see how an on-site helper is necessary at that point of time. So over here, the task is that this child needs to fill the blanks from the options which are given here, and he is quite hesitant to do that.
Can you please move on? Okay. Go ahead. Please. Okay, I want you to try. What's this one? She's asking questions. About the nose. She's asking what's on it? Nice job. I put my food in a coffee maker. Jack, let's stop it. Into that sentence. Yep. Over. Right here. You got it. Over. Nice job. Just tell me that whole sentence, Malcolm. Wait.
Okay, so that is an example where the on-site helper actually, helped the child complete the activity. All right, so we saw a lot of these material that was displayed. So I thought that it would be nice if I could share a few sites with you where you could get this material readily so that you can start with online therapy. So these are the sites where you have amazing material which you can find, and you can use it for your online sessions. Of course, there is material that is being built by one of my senior too. So I'm really happy, and I hope everyone shares that and uses it. But this material, so all of these material, when it is online, you can, I think you can access even more patients who are a little older who will enjoy it in this form. So some of these sites also give you online games. So you can do one round of that and then one round of the activity and so on. Some of them don't, but then they give you these small little reinforcer stickers or stars or something. So if he says the right thing, I click and he gets a star on his screen. So that's another option that is available on these websites. So please go and access it. It'll be helpful for you for teletherapy. Okay. So another important consideration is we need good visual clarity, we need good audio clarity, and we need good clinician interaction. So visual clarity, clinician interaction is we can still somehow manage it, but I feel over here in India, audio clarity is one big thing, because sometimes somehow we do have some kind of ambient noise. So it is very important to control that kind of ambient noise, because that can disturb the child's session. So it is best if the child and the mother can sit in another room for about that half an hour or 45 minutes, so that there is no interaction. Okay, so we spoke about the therapist side till now. Let's see what the parents feel after doing teletherapy.
It's important to me to interact with my child at home, because I am the parent and I'm with my child 24/7. I just wanted to learn the strategies myself and be able to use them throughout the day. There are things that I might do with her, but a different way of approaching it, or focusing on a different skill is so important. I mean, I would probably just dump the pegs out and let her play with it. And now I know what I can do to really enhance her development. development with the PEGs. She really enjoys this activity, Kathleen. She's excited about it. This is a fun one. I always like to pretend that these are candles on a birthday cake right before a child's birthday, practice blowing out the candles. Oh, okay, that's fun. Hello, Minka? Virtual intervention has definitely made me a better parent. I know what activities I can do with my child that are going to help with my child's development. And that's really important to me. And where's this finger? Let me see. There it is. Scribble, scribble.
So that last part that we saw was Nutella and some feeding therapy. You can see the packet over here. So we can also do feeding therapy online. Okay, so let's see one more video. So this video, I want to also want you to focus on the fact that, you know, there are some children who are really fidgety, and they want to be all over the place. So in that case, you want to usually collaborate with the autist and maybe ask for what can be used as an obstacle course or something, so that the child goes through that and then comes back and does his speech activity. So we'll see over here, they've used a tunnel as in, you know, for the child, so that the child goes through it and comes back and does the activity.
Did you came up with the right one?
Yeah. She knows her sheep. Get up here, sweetheart. I just think this virtual intervention program is fantastic, and it really takes very little on the part of the parents to get it up and going. A few instructional minutes goes a long way. My wife and I both work, so coming home and just sitting in front of the computer for, you know, the time allotted, it's much easier than having to go somewhere, or at least even have for someone else to travel. Because then what happens is there's a traffic jam, or they have personal issues that they can't attend to, or something comes up and you can't have the session at all. So not only are we missing the session, we're also not being able to learn more, to be able to care more about it. All right, stretch. Great. Through virtual intervention, we can really become empowered completely, because we become the therapist for our own daughter, and it's wonderful. It really is a wonderful experience to be able to provide the services that only you think only somebody else can do, but then learning as you go along to be able to provide those services for her through the virtual intervention is fantastic. Good job. Yay! Girl. What's left? What is that? Piggy, can you go get the piggy? Piggy, go get the piggy. The cool thing about the virtual intervention is when we learn and we apply it, you can see the effects right away. Beyond the fact that she's progressing, but knowing that we had a direct impact on that, it's just the best feeling in the world to be able to help your child in that way.
Okay, so that's another parent having positive perspective. So let's talk about research. What does research say about telepractice? There is a lot of research that is done abroad, and have compared on-site and on-site services with telepractice services, and they have found you know, comparable results. So we'll just run through one study quickly so that you know that what I'm talking is true. And so the study is about two individuals with autism, 11.11 and 12 years old male. Both of them were high-functioning autism children, and the study was done to find out the difference between on-site as well as on-site and telepractice outcomes. So there were seven sessions given. There are 7 sessions of telepractice and 7 sessions of on-site service. And in that, they had the goals, the settings in which the therapy was being done, the time of the day, the material that was used, and the clinician and the on-site helper. They were kept consistent with on-site as well as telepractice services. So what I mean by type of material is that in telepractice, obviously the material was on the computer screen, but also on site, the material was on the computer screen. So you can see over here in telepractice, it was on the computer screen, but on site too, the material was still on the computer screen. So what was different only was that the clinician was across the screen in the telepractice service, while on the on-site service, the clinician was sitting right next to the student. So the result that they found was that there was consistent improvement between both on-site as well as telepractice. So the improvement that was seen was equal both on-site as well as telepractice. So going on to the next question of whether to continue telepractice services post the COVID-19 pandemic. So to answer this question, I will want to run through some statistics. And the statistics say that the prevalence of autism, ASD, in India as per 2018 is 1 in 100 children have autism. So just let's look at the population of India as of 2018 is 135.26 crores. So let's round that off to 135. So if you do the math, it comes to about 1.35 crore children probably have ASD. And let's see how many SLPs are there to serve them. So this is just an approximate number, a figure that I have got from the ISHA website. So ISHA has 3,440 members. Some of them are audiologists, some of them are speech therapists. Some of the speech therapists do not cater to child therapy. They do only adult therapy. So that leaves a very small number, but we just want to, calculate approximately, and so we take the whole figure. So if we do the math, we divide 1.35 crore by 3,440. It comes to 3,924 children with ASD that each SLP needs to cater. So this is huge. So it's practically not possible to cater so many children. And why is that happening? There's another reason, and that is because most of the service that we are giving are in the urban areas, and the children with ASD in the rural, the hilly, the tribal, the coastal areas, they probably get missed out and no service reaches them. And so I think telepractice is a good way to reach them. So let's compare these figures to the figures of the US. So in the US, the prevalence of ASD is much more than in India. It's 1 in 59 children as of 2018 again, so that we have a fair comparison. This is the same graph that I showed before, and down here you can see the figures of the population of the United States. It's 32.72 crores. We can round that off to 33 crores. So if we again do the math, it comes to 56 lakh children with ASD. And if we see the number of SLPs that they have, again, this is the number of ASHA members. The same variables of ISHA apply to ASHA. But if we want to take the whole figure and do the math, it comes to about 27 children of ASD for each SLP. And even then, they are doing a lot of telepractice services. So I think it is high time for India too to do a lot of telepractice. So I'm repeating the question again: whether to continue with telepractice services post the COVID-19 pandemic. I think the answer to that is a yes, because in this way we can reach out to the hilly, the coastal, the tribal, and all of those areas where the services have not reached, and we can cater to them. Of course, if we can't give them regular service, at least we can start some kind of service, so that in the future the service will probably increase in number. Okay, so if you are even slightly inspired by this webinar and want to do telepractice, then there is some study material that I have posted if you want to learn from it. So this is an ASHA page. So it is the ASHA courses, the CU courses that it provides. So some of these courses you can see are free for members as well as non-members, and this is, I think, a basic course on how to deliver telepractice. Some other courses, of course, are paid, so that completely depends on you. There are other sites like Just Ask Mallory. So Just Ask Mallory is a site where she talks a lot about telepractice, a lot of your questions. If you can just post it there, and she makes videos and can answer those videos, and she already has a lot of videos, so you can go through that if you want to learn in that sense. Then Pearson is another group of clinicians where I think they make a lot of softwares and they do a lot of telepractice services. So through their sites also you can learn. Sunny Days is a lot of videos are sourced from Sunny Days in this webinar. So they give a whole module of telepractice and they call it visual intervention, VI. So you can see a lot of modules over there. Here, there are a lot of modules for parents as well, for families as well, and for clinicians. So you can go through that and see how we can improve our services at Telepractice. Okay, so this is one last video that I wanted to put. So this was one of the very early times when I had started with Telepractice, and you will see a lot of glitches in this video. So I'll just play it for you.
Yes.
So you could see that I was giving instructions in between, but it was not as good as it should be. So I learned a lot of lessons from this. The first thing was the internet on either my side or the patient side, I couldn't figure out was not good. So the video kept starting and stopping. The second thing was that the table that we were using, it was too colorful and it was it was distracting. So we had to eventually change the table. The third thing, you can just see a ball behind. So we had made use of the ball a lot of times because this child particularly was very hyperactive and he could not sit down for more than 3 to 4 cards for one task, and then he had to go. So we had made use of that, but then I think I took some advice from seniors and all of that, and we changed from that ball to more of a rocking chair or some of sort of a thing, so that he still has movement, but he is still in one place. So that really helped. So I have purposely put this video on just to tell you that there is a take-home message that glitches happen. They happen all the time, and it's okay. It's okay that they happen. When we were starting clinicians, I think all of us had to go through a learning process, and our professors completely helped us in that. And now we are taking considerably good therapy. So even telepractice is a new module, so it's not going to happen in the first go. So there are going to be problems, but I think if we keep solving every problem one by one, we will get through. And I think we will then be able to serve a lot of our patients who have no service as of now. All right, so that was my video about telepractice on autism, and thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll be taking questions now. If you just allow me a minute, I'll be on the questions. Okay, so there's a question saying, what is RCI point of view on teletherapy, and are there any guidelines given by RCI? So I did go through the RCI, and I did not find any guidelines as such about teletherapy. So either I have not found the document, or they have not developed. But I think that there are no guidelines as such, to my extent of knowledge, and I think we should all work towards building it. Okay. What is the standard charges for teletherapy in India? What others are charging, but I think I charge about 20 to 30% lesser than what is on site. I don't know what the actual charges that everyone else is charging. Okay. Can I get a full video of for offline use? Because okay, I think that's the technical part, right? Okay. What is the name of therapy game, and is it available free of cost? Yes, it's available free of cost. It is Mani Sweeper. That's the name. You can find it in the links that I have shared. Yeah, I think you can find it there. Okay. Good evening. How can we provide reinforcement via teletherapy, and at what schedule? Okay. So like I said, the games that we can do, so it depends upon the age of the child. That's the first thing. If the child is relatively old, we can play games, and that is reinforcing. The second thing, if you don't want to play games, or you don't have games available to play as of now, then you can do token economy. That's something that I had started very early, when I did not have all these web pages and links. So I had started with coins. So I had asked the parents to give a coin after every correct answer, and if he collects about 10 coins, then he gets a reinforcement by the parent, like a sticker or something. So that helps. If you do not have games, or these websites that provide reinforcement on the screen, then you can ask the on-site helper to give the reinforcement on the schedule that you want to. What is the schedule? The schedule remains the same whether on-site or off-site, whatever you have decided for the activity. So that does not really change with teletherapy. Okay, what should we do if the patient is hypersensitive to sound? Like I said, you put the video part of the clinician part of the video off, and you can use the headphones or the other, the sound reducing headphones, so that he's not affected. But if you're talking about hypersensitivity in relation to the telepractice, then that is one thing. You can ask the parent to put the Bluetooth on, so that the child is not hearing the clinician, and I think that will solve the problem. I think I've answered your question. If not, please ask me again. Okay, examples of video conferencing software to control child playing game. Yes, WebEx, like I had posted, is a very good option. Video is a very good option. Again, the one that I had posted. It allows you to control the child playing game. I mean, the child's side of the computer, and that way you can operate it. Hi, could you please share resources for online therapy materials? I have put it on the slide. I think when you get the video, you will get it, or else I will ask my technical team how I can send it to you. I hope that's okay. Okay, very good explanation through video shown as an example. Thank you very much. about using stickers as phrasing. Yes, you can definitely use stickers. You can ask the parent to give stickers as token economy. Which sites do you use more? I use DLTK more. I think that's one that I really like to do. I use do to more a lot. That's again something that I really like to do. Also, one of our seniors have Anisha Gateji has developed an online material as of now. Please use it; it's amazing. So yes, you can use all of those. Okay, my 5-year-old son still drools when he speaks. Is there anything we can do at home? He is attended by a speech therapist. Yes, if he drools, you need to first check the muscle tone, if that is causing the drooling. If that is causing the drooling, then you can surely work on the muscle tone with a lot of oromotor and those kind of exercises. And the speech therapist, yes, the speech therapist that is attending him should cater to this problem. This is great. Can I get the video of this? Yeah, yes, I will tell the technical team. Most of my clients are in a low income therapy and are not willing to do teletherapy. Some do not have touch mobile screens. Others are not sure whether it will work, even when it breaks down. Okay, so so there is a part of teletherapy which is asynchronous therapy versus synchronous therapy, which I did not mention. So there is a lot to it, but I did not have time because I had to finish it in 1 hour. There are two views of therapy, that asynchronous, synchronous. So if your patient is of a low socioeconomic group and is not able to do video sessions, then you can do asynchronous sessions. What I mean by asynchronous sessions is that you can send the material by mail or to any other person who has closest access to internet or who understands how to use it, and they can take printouts or some. I think now all even the rural places have at least like one internet one person who knows how to handle it. We all have it on the phone. So if they can get it from that one person, and on the phone you tell them how to use it. So that's called asynchronous. You're not doing it together. All the videos that I showed were synchronous when the patient is there and the clinician is there, but that's asynchronous. So that is what you can do in patients who do not have touch screen mobile phones and can't do the synchronous sessions. Is there a link? Is there a particular link I can get for this Tele-Speech? I did not get your question. Do you want to learn about teletherapy? Then I've mentioned a lot of links. If you're talking about this webinar specifically, I think it'll be sent to you by mail. How often teletherapy session can be taken? Okay, so actually it's supposed to be, the literature says that you're supposed to do it just like on-site therapy without any difference in the goal setting or in the number of sessions. So if you're doing 3 sessions on site, you do 3 sessions in telepractice. That's how you do it. But of course, like I said, there are a lot of problems when we're doing teletherapy in India, because like the problems that I faced were the patient's house was not that big, so he could not get a room for himself for half an hour, 4 times a week. So then we cut it down to 2 times a week. So if those kind of problems come up, then you can regulate the sessions, but ideally you're supposed to take it the same number of sessions on site and the same number of sessions in teletherapy. Abhishek here, presently in Bangladesh. Hi Abhishek. I have a Down syndrome child of 4 years old and I'm facing problem to continue with speech therapy schedules due to the ongoing lockdown. I would like to know what options are there for this service in India. Could you please provide a few well-recognized service providers for this? Yes, there in India, because there's a lockdown, I think all of us have turned to we've turned to telepractice, and there definitely are a lot of service providers, and I will definitely share the number with you. Okay, are the sites shared, paid, or for free? Most of the sites are for free. I think all the sites are for free, but some of their services are paid, like most sites have like these premium services. So those are paid, but most of them are free. What is the frequency of the session we can plan for a week? Okay, I think I've answered this question. Some parents are underconfident when it comes to teletherapy, and some children are accompanied by other relatives. One of the client comes with a granny who is not techno savvy. What should I do in such cases? Right. So again, if this child is taken care by the grandmother most of the times, and the parents come in, they are really not, active in the therapy sessions even on site, then again you can do asynchronous therapy. You can mail the material to the parents, talk to the grandmother how to do it, and ask the grandmother to do it at home and send you videos of it, and then you can monitor it. This is not the most perfect way to do it, of course, but in kind of circumstances where it's difficult, you can do it. Another thing that you can do is what people have done abroad is that they call that one person who will be, like in this case is grandmother. They call that one person over to see how to use things. So I wouldn't say all of them get it, but some of them do understand by repetitive practice how to use those apps, if it's just like clicking it and just 2-3 buttons here and there. So that is one thing that we do. Of course, this is not it does not count in the pandemic, because you can't get anyone to the clinic, but that is an option that I want to tell you. Do you have a course that I can do? Early intervention is my area of interest, so that I can be a certified tele practitioner. I cannot give a certificate for telepractice because I am not that experienced. There are courses, like I said, on the websites that I told you. There are also courses on ASHA which are really nice, and they will give you a certificate. But I would want to say a certified telepractice practitioner is something that that is included in the services of speech therapy according to ASHA. So according to ASHA, if you are a speech therapist in a particular region, then you are also recognized to do teletherapy in that particular region. Again, I don't know how it is in RCI terms, but that's what ASHA says. So I don't think you need to have a separate certificate for telepractice. As far as you're a speech therapist, you can do it in that particular area. Okay, I have a severe case CAS child and does not comply to parents. Can I still do teletherapy with this child? If yes, then how can I go about it? Okay, so if one question, what do you mean by the parents do not comply? In the sense they won't help in telepractice, or they don't want to do therapy in general? What do you mean by that? If you can tell me more about it, then I can answer your question, because it's kind of ambiguous. Okay. What to do economic strata, is there any alternative or change in technique? Okay, so there is this thing that I wanted to start, but I have not been able to do it. So the idea came from when I read and I saw that abroad in schools they train one particular person um, for telepractice, and then that particular person takes care of the children over there, and they call that person as an SLPA, or an SLPA can do it. So it's one of the two. So that's SLP is speech language pathology. A is assistant. So that's what they call him. So I had this in mind that for the lower economic strata and for the interiors of India, where even if there is one person who can use the internet and who can start it and stop it, then I think most of our problems will get solved, because then this one person can just be there and act as a technical assistant and start and stop the video whenever the child and the mother come, and then we can interact with them. So, but all of that is just in my mind. Nothing is actually done. So that is one thing that you can do for the lower economic strata. If you can form a group from the same society, and serve to all of them, or do asynchronous therapy. How is the duration of a session? Again, the same as on-site. Nothing really changes when we're doing on-site versus telepractice. It remains the same. If you feel that your child is more distracted, actually, over the sessions, you'll see that in telepractice, the parents also will tell you that my child is doing better because he's in home setting, and he's actually generalizing to things more because he's using household things. And we've, I think, seen a couple of webinars before this of how there was an amazing webinar on play therapy, and before that on how to use household things. So that's when the generalization comes. So the duration of session will remain the same, but sometimes if you feel that the child is getting distracted initially, then you can reduce it. How many number of sessions done by a clinician? So I think I've answered that question. It remains the same as on site. The clients are to pay for teletherapy. Yes, they are supposed to pay for teletherapy just the way they pay for on-site sessions. But you can obviously decide how much to charge them. Okay, any platform where we SLPs from India can register and get clients? I'm not aware of any such platform. I don't know if there is any such platform, but I think one way that we can all start it is by doing visits to the rural areas, maybe once a month or something, and then we can slowly start reaching out to them. Okay, in the case of a new child, how to build rapport with the child and how to handle a situation where they are not ready to sit with their parents, right? So this is a really good question. So like I said in the initial slides, there are regulations in different states in the US whether you want to do the first session with the patient in person or on telepractice. As such, there are no regulations over here, so it depends on you. I don't prefer to do the very first session over telepractice because I want to see the person, see the patient in person, for 2-3 reasons: to understand his sensory needs, to understand the other, to give a personal touch to the therapy, and then we can take it to teletherapy. But at least the first session I do it that way. But if you are doing the first session over teletherapy, I would say that let the first session go where you just observe the child. So just ask the parent to play with the child and just observe the child. In that way, you will get some sense of his sensory needs, and then depending on the sensory needs, you can plan activities. The next half of your question was, what do we do if the child is not ready to sit with their parents? So a lot of children with autism, you will find this problem. So you can plan movement activities. So the child moves around and then he comes back and then he does the task, and then he moves around and comes back and does the task. So that is one thing that you can plan, and it will give you success. Okay. Instead of changing the table, you can put a white plain cloth on that, means you can cover it. Yes, of course, that's what exactly we did. I mean, we didn't really change the table because we didn't change the table. We put a white cloth, and that did the job. Yes. Okay. Good evening, ma'am. Can you please suggest some activities for 3-year-old functioning at around 1 to 1.5 years of age? Yes. So depending on the sensory needs, if the child can sit for at least a couple of minutes, then you can start with activities where the child is probably giving you a few functional answers, is probably able to follow 2-stage commands, something of that sort. If he is not, then you can do the same activities on a movement task. Is there an age limit to start teletherapy? When you mean start, I believe you're talking about the patient's age, right? Okay, I'll answer the question both ways. For the clinicians, of course, there's no age. For the patient, there is again no age. You can start teletherapy at any age, just like you can start on-site therapy at any age. But of course, the earlier the better for the child. If you're talking in sense of child and adult, again, you can do it with children as well as adult. So I see patients with aphasia on teletherapy. I see patients with such stuttering on teletherapy. So they are adults. So yeah, so you can do it that way also. Can you do AAC through teletherapy? If yes, please give some tips. Okay, so yes, you can do AAC through teletherapy, but it's very, very complicated. And I don't know personally how to do it. All I know is that you cannot do it with one laptop, or you cannot do it on the phone, of course. You need a laptop, and you need a couple of them. So you need, I think, 3 laptops to do it. So it is complicated, but the answer to that is yes. But I don't know how to do it. Do we need to do any assessment to start teletherapy? If yes, from whom and where? Yes, of course, like we do on-site assessments. Before starting the therapy, we do assessments on Telepractice. The only difference will be that depending on which assessment tool you're using and what is the task that is required. So if the task is a writing task, then you need to use a video conferencing software which will let the patient write. So that's the only difference. If you're using a scale or a tool which does not require that, it just requires parent answering you like a reels, or it requires only the observation of the child, then you do not need such softwares. But you, of course, you will have to do assessments. The courses available once again. The courses available for teletherapy, yes. So if you open ASHA, the page, then there are CEU courses. So under CEU courses, there'll be a search bar. So you just put teletherapy. And now, of course, because of COVID, it's all trending a lot. So you will just see it over there. Some of them are paid, some are unpaid. So you can access it. The second one is that I had mentioned was from Sunny Days. They have a number of um, modules, learning modules, so you can learn from there. And plus, there are a couple of other websites from where you can learn about teletherapy. Any regulations for telepractice in India? Um, I I don't think there are any regulations as of now. I checked a lot. I did a lot of research, but I couldn't find any. So I think there aren't in place. But soon, if we work on it, I think it will be in place, just like the US. How about outcome measures? Yes, so like we saw the study about our outcome measures, the research says that the outcome measures for on-site therapy versus for teletherapy is the same. You see the same kind of outcomes. Of course, it is just started in India, so we have not published so much on it. So so we will still be awaiting for Indian literature. In my opinion, I have also found the same kind of success on teletherapy as on site therapy. It is pretty much the same. The only thing is that how comfortable are you with the technology? If you're very comfortable with the technology, it goes as smooth as the on-site therapy. So for people who are in the initial stages, it will just take the initial time will be nerve-wracking. It'll bother you, but then once you're out there, you'll get it. Um, okay. Uh, okay, I have a question. Why don't we implement teletherapy in all special schools? Yes, so this is something that is done a lot in the US, where they cannot reach out to the schools because the schools are in their countryside or their villages, and so this is what they do. So they train one person from the school as, and they call him the on-site helper, or they have a lot of names for this one person. He is also called a tele helper and a lot of other things. But yes, they train this one person, and then this one person will sit there, and then as that child's time for therapy, that child will come, he will sit, the on-site helper will sit, and the clinician will be there, and they will do therapy, and that's how they go about it. And also there is training given to this on-site helper. So the on-site helper will either come to the clinician, or the clinician flies down to wherever the on-site helper is, and they train them for all kind of problems or troubleshooting that can happen. And they do mock sessions, and then after doing mock sessions, they actually start with the practice. So that is how it is delivered. And so yes, it's a very good idea to start it in special schools as well as in our villages where we can't reach, so that we at least can start with a group service or deliver some service. Please share the site's address once again. I will definitely do that. Yes. Hi, how far is this method successful in developing rapport and bonding with the therapist? Okay, so one thing that I have come across is that when I had initially started with teletherapy. Okay, wow, that's a lot of questions. When I had initially started with teletherapy, um, I had started by doing it on WhatsApp, and the problem was that whenever there was only one screen, and so whenever I had to show the material, and I was not, of course, very well versed with the online material and how to share it on the screen and all of that. So all I used to do it is take the material that I had and then just show it on the camera. So like just the most primitive way of doing it. And at that point of time, I felt that there was no rapport. The reason being, I was on the screen dual screens. What I mean by dual screens is these video conferencing software, they will still keep you there and they will show you the slides. Like right now, this is GoToWebinar. You can use this same software for your video conferencing sessions, right? You can see me, you can see the slides. The same way the patient can see you, they can see the slides. Now, constantly reassuring, and I think that is the primitive difference between on-site sessions as well as teletherapy, because when we are in on-site sessions, the patient can literally see us all the time, and so there is this human bonding. But when we use the like WhatsApp and those kind of softwares which have single screens, then that is lost. So when I started using these softwares, then it as good as an on-site session. There was really a lot of bonding then. So maybe if you try that, it'll help you. How can, okay. Are parents generally ready to pay even if they have to work with the child? Huh. So most of them, yeah, because eventually they do work with the child, right? I mean, we are working with the child for only 1 hour, and then after that they are supposed to do all of those activities at home. So in fact, some of them do feel that getting better and better at doing the activities because they're the ones who have to be with the child forever. But then, of course, there will be some patients who are not ready to do it. So maybe one or two in a lot of them, but most of them are ready to work with their child. Yes, and ready to pay. Thank you, ma'am, for the enlightening session. For a distracted child, the child may refuse to do activity which we tell or may not understand. Then the presence on-site is compulsory, right? No, that's what I was trying to say, that usually they're distracted or into the activity because of their sensory needs. So I think if we saw the webinar which was given before, the speaker said very well that they have sensory needs and that is why they're doing it. And if we stop those needs, then it will go to such an extent that they will stop the task altogether. So I think that is one thing that we can do on site. We can stop it, and I think that gives us the thing that okay, we have done it, but we don't need to do that. We need to keep their sensory needs into mind and then regulate the activity accordingly. So if you understand their sensory needs and then plan the activities, then it goes absolutely fine. Of course, I'm not saying it'll go fine in the first session, but it doesn't go fine in the first session even on site. So I think that's fine, right? Yeah. How long should a teletherapy session ideally be? So yeah, I said it's the same way it's on site. Only difference is that your split of the sessions will be different. Over here in the first 10 to 15 minutes, you will want to brief the parent as to what is to be done if the child is really young. If he is not, then you just start off by presenting the material on the screen. What is the correct age for the to start with therapy for a child? So it's the same as on site. Earlier the better. Is group therapy possible through teletherapy? Yes, it's possible to teletherapy. It's just the same way that I call A friend and then B friend and then C friend and then we all connect. So technological wise, it's that way. If you're talking about with their special needs, again, if the child is a little older, then it is possible to through teletherapy. I have personally not done group therapy on teletherapy, but I have observed it. I've observed other people doing it. So I can say that it is done, yes. How do you deal with the payment part? Is there any software available where you pay and then only start? So the patients usually do online payments, and then you can start the session. Yes. Do you think telepractice is better than an SLP doing a therapy alone with a child, as the child is in the comfort zone of his place and the parents learn how to involve the child in a better manner? That's a tricky question. I think it depends from child to child. So there was this child who would, so there was just only one child, and I still don't want to say that he did better on teletherapy, but then he was really distracted. So he was a little older and he was very distracted on site. So then we decided to do teletherapy, and then he would do better. And I don't know what changed. I don't know whether it is his home environment that was comfortable and that is why. But I'm not saying that SLP doing actual therapy is better. I mean, teletherapy is better than SLP is doing actual therapy. All I'm saying is that this is a good way of service delivery to the people who we cannot reach out to. So I'm not saying that we should alternate all our sessions to teletherapy. Absolutely not. Of course, we need to go back to our work and do one-on-one on-site sessions. But I'm saying that we cannot cater to the rural or the hilly area or the tribal people. Them we can do teletherapy. If the parents are illiterate, how can we proceed further, ma'am? Okay, so you train someone else who can help them out. Do asynchronous therapy, and that way you can go about it. Even though they are illiterate, they can definitely understand instructions when you give them, like, okay, I'm sending a print of this or something, you have to use it, and this is what you have to do with asynchronous. It won't be as if efficient maybe, but you can reach out to them. The therapist will interact with the mother. The therapist will interact with only the mother or with the child also. Depends on the age and the functioning level of the child. If the child is really young, then probably only the mother. If he's older, then both. Is it possible for the clinicians to observe accurately? Is it possible for the clinician to observe accurately the new behaviors in the child that pop up eventually in the sessions and do appropriate therapy? Yes. So what you're talking about is quick changes that we do on site, like, maybe a particular activity is not working out, so let me pick up that B particular activity. So when you're doing teletherapy, we do the same thing. We always keep a backup activity. So if a particular activity is not working out, then we change the activity according to the behavior of the child. So suppose the child does not want to do, one activity today, then I change the activity on site, through teletherapy. Sorry. I believe that making the parents do the activities may make them feel confident enough to discontinue therapy, as they have a sense of knowing what needs to be done as a therapist. What do you feel? Okay, so when the parents are doing sessions themselves, of course they will feel more confident, and I think that is a very good thing because it is their child. The parent needs to feel confident. About discontinuing therapy, I don't think the understanding parents will discontinue therapy, because they will also understand that the needs of the child are changing. So what the parent has probably mastered and is feeling confident about, the child will outgrow it with repetitive exercises, and he will have a further goal to work on, which again they'll need the therapist for. So I don't think that will happen. I mean, and feeling confident, of course, it's a very good thing that the parents are feeling confident. Okay. What are the factors to be considered on deciding how much time should we use? Again, it's the same as on-site. Which languages do you prefer? Just the languages that I talk. Just like on-site. If I cannot speak a language, then I probably can't take therapy in that language. So everything remains similar to on-site. It's just the medium of delivering therapy is different. Otherwise, everything remains similar. My son is hyperactive. How do I make him to sit in a place or calm down? He's 5+, thanks. Okay, so if he is hyperactive, then activities like jumping, making him remove all that hyperactivity will calm him down. So like I said, you can plan, maybe if you're doing matching, 2 cards, and then he does something that will so if your speech therapist and your Otis kind of communicate, then they will be able to calm the child down even during the speech therapy sessions. Can you share the slide which showed the free ASHA course available? Yes, I think you will be getting the webinar, so you can see it. Is there any therapy material in Marathi and Hindi for therapy? Okay, so as of now, no. But like I said, my senior is making it in Marathi, and soon it will be there, so you can reach out to it. Okay. Hi, good evening. How to manage client who are non-compliant to parents during therapy? I think we've discussed about this. Cater to their sensory needs, understand their needs, and the tantrums will go down. And then likewise, you can work on the goals. So only then can you be able to work on speech. Can we use this for adults also if it is possible? And then how do we modify? Absolutely, you can use it for adults. Like I said, I do cater to adults also through teletherapy. Things that change is that you need to then always use a video conferencing software which will project or present the material there, so that they can read it. If you're working on reading tasks, if you're working on listening or tree comprehension or any of those tasks, then you can just do like a face-to-face conferencing and help that out. If you want the patient to write, if you're working on writing, then you need to have a whiteboard, which is available. I think it's available on Zoom, so you can use Zoom. Do the session. Can you do teletherapy for a hyperactive kid in a remote area with no rehab services, and how? I think I have said that we need to train someone who will cater to them like an on-site helper. If the on-site helper is willing to come to the clinician, or the clinician is willing to go to the on-site helper for an initial training period, then we can take the sessions forward. So, but initial training in this kind of setting is required. Any special tips for cochlear implanted? Okay, so I've unfortunately never got the chance to work on teletherapy with the cochlear implant, but I think if we get the audio part right, then we can cater to. I have not worked with a CI child on teletherapy. Okay. What about if back-to-back sessions, what preparations to be done? Back-to-back sessions, as in for the clinicians, I believe. So yeah, so if you have like about 3 to 4 sessions back to back, and if at least one of them is an adult, then I would say that you can, if possible, you can schedule the adult in between, so that it eases down your load as per the material. It gives you a little more time. If not, you can keep about 10-15 minutes in between the sessions, like we usually do, to prepare for the next session. Another thing that you can do is, like we keep the games arranged, that I want to do this after this after this. In teletherapy, you keep it arranged on the tabs. So after this tab, it's this tab, then it's this tab. So if it's a very busy day, that's what I do. I keep about 4 or 5 tabs ready, and then I know that is what I want to do. So that is what you can do. When you said the therapist should be able to see both on-site helper and client, why should they see the on-site helper? Okay, so I said this in reference to very young children. So you want to see the on-site helper, that may be the parent. So because you want to see what the parent is doing, and if you need to modify it, whether it is right, if you want to modify it in any form. So that is why you want to see the on-site helper. Of course, if the child is a little older, then you don't need to see the on-site helper, and you can just do the session with the child, but the helper needs to be there to monitor the child's behavior. Okay, if opt out, then do we need to buy the required material? Will the list of the material be provided? Okay, so most of the material in terms of software is free. Like the software that we're using right now, GoToWebinar, it's free. So most of the software is free. The material, a lot of that is free. The part that you're saying about the hardware, if you say like a laptop or something, then yes, you will have to buy that. Some clinicians also buy a webcam. I don't feel the need to buy it, so I have not bought it, but some people feel more comfortable with a webcam. So I would say if you have a laptop and you can download all the softwares which are free and do a few sessions, like a mock sessions with maybe your colleagues or your friends, to understand, what to use, where are the options, what are the annotations, what to do, then you can do it. Yeah. Don't you think the screen time increases for the child? Yes, it obviously does, but it's half an hour of screen time, and in exchange, we are really developing the speech skills. So I think that's okay. We can regulate that by decreasing the screen time elsewhere. So and if you think about it, if it's teletherapy or no therapy, it's always better to do teletherapy even with the screen time. So yeah. Do you have any document videos to help swallowing disorders? Yes, but I mean it's not in reference to this webinar, so I will get back to you later maybe. Any tips for telepractice for cochlear implanted acoustic chair? Yeah, so I said that I've unfortunately not got the opportunity to work with a CI child, so no. Is telepractice developed speech for our special child? Thank you for encouraging us. We will be with you. Yes. So you're asking whether children have developed speech through telepractice, I believe. And yes, they have developed, like non-verbal children have become verbal. Verbal children have increased the MLU. So yes, we have seen progress through teletherapy. How long a typical teletherapy session lasts? So I think I've answered that question. Is there any age restrictions for teletherapy? No, both for the patient and the clinician, there is no restriction. Hi, ma'am, how can we motivate children for PECs in teletherapy module? Like I said, it's really complicated, but you can do it. There are courses to learn how to do it if you're interested, but I still don't know how to do it. So I would love to learn, but yes, you can do it. Hi, my son is 3.5 years and non-verbal. He is performing activities but not speaking. Will this be useful and how? Yes, it'll definitely help him. So one question, are you doing speech therapy or not? That is one question. If you're not, then if you start with speech therapy, it will definitely help him. It is just like speech therapy, but it is across the screen. So it will definitely help you. How it is through strategies that we use in speech therapy, that's another topic altogether, so I don't want to go into that, but all the strategies have been used and over again, and they have shown positive results. So it will definitely help your child. What if the child is a visual seeker and more reactive to videos? Okay, so if he's a visual seeker, then you disable your part of the camera. All right. So if you feel that he's really attached to that, and if he is a young child, then the parent can do the activity and you disable it. If you feel that it's an adult child, it's a elder child where you want to do like on-screen activities, but he is getting very distracted, uh, then you can start with asynchronous therapy. You can mail the material to the mother, instruct the mother what is to be done, and then she can carry it out, which will be off the screen, and send you videos so that you can monitor the activity through the videos and give feedback. Thank you so much for an insightful session. A question: the aim of the personal therapies is that the child is able to achieve his potential. Is it a replacement for that not being enough schools for specially able child? Could you please share what is your outlook for this? Do we see this happening in India, an inclusive approach of education? Um, this is not a replacement for schools for specially able. No, it's not a replacement. But I would like to say that uh, it's we are supposed to provide speech therapy for every child who is specially able and who requires it, but we are unable to do it because there are very few speech therapists and a lot of children to cater to. So it's not a replacement, but we can definitely do on teletherapy for schools so that we do cater them, but we are still at our place and they are at their place, but we are still able to cater them. How long should be the session? Ideally, time of exposure to screen is also an important factor, I assume. Yes, time of exposure to screen is an important factor, like I said, but it is for the exchange of speech development. So I think that the screen exposure time can be reduced elsewhere so that we can do teletherapy. Hello, I'm a counseling psychologist and I'm looking for certified courses related to autism. Can you suggest some courses as a fresher? How do I start? Are you looking for courses speech in the speech therapy view or in general? If you're looking for courses in speech therapy view, there are courses listed on the RCI website that non-speech therapists can do. There are also other online courses that are available. So it depends on what you are looking for. So like you said, autism, there are online courses on autism. You can go on ASHA website. You can go on there are there yeah, I think ASHA provides for non-SLPs for like short courses. There are also courses, I think, which are done by ISHA, which I'm not sure if non-SLPs are allowed to attend it, but yes, there are courses done by ISHA, but so you can look it up. Yeah. Is it possible for the clinician to observe accurately the new behaviors in the child that pop up eventually in the session and take apt measures? Yes, it is possible to observe new behaviors because you are actually seeing the child, and yes, you can take apt measures because you are keeping a backup activity. So you can react, observe and react to both. Yes. How safe is feeding therapy online? Okay, so feeding as well as swallowing therapy, there are courses to do it. I don't know if they can be done completely online. I have not done the courses, and therefore I do not do feeding and swallowing therapy online. But yes, people do it. I think if you train the parents, and if you are confident that they can handle it, then maybe they can do it, an off-site service delivery. But otherwise, no. Of course, if you've done the course, then maybe you want to do it. How to convince parents to do teletherapy when they are not much educated and cannot manage coming in sight? You need to tell them the need for speech therapy. I think if they understand that their child needs it, then they will probably turn to do it. About how to do it, train someone who is good with technology, and ask, maybe that person can help these people out. Okay, how useful is home-based programs in village level person with ESD? It is very useful. In fact, there is a book on therapies in the Indian villages or for the Indian villages, where they talk about different disorders and how you can do it in the Indian villages. So it is useful. They can do it because they are mothers in the end. Of course, their way of doing it is a little different from ours, but they can definitely do it if we train them. What is the material developed by our senior Anisha? Where can we access it? Yes, there is a website. I think I have not put it. I'll add it to this presentation, and then maybe you can access it. Yeah. How long should the session ideally be? Okay, I think I've answered that. Is there any center in West Bengal and regional language, for example, Bengali? I don't know of it, but if anyone, if any therapist who is listening to this is Bengali and who are doing teletherapy, if you can cater to their needs. But I personally don't know of anyone who is a Bengali speaker and who is doing teletherapy. Is this therapy suitable for all ages? Yes, it's suitable for all ages. How long should the session usually be done? I think we've discussed that. How about the home training for the parents? Home training in the sense, um, can you elaborate, because I did not understand what you mean by home training. If you mean training the parents so that they can do it at home, then yes, that's what we need to do. Is teletherapy being practiced in all cities in India? If so, please give any contact of speech therapists practicing this strategy in Chennai. I am not sure if it's been practiced all over India. I hope that it is. If I do come across anyone in Chennai who's catering teletherapy, I will definitely share it with you. How to plan in IEP? IEP, as in you're talking about American IEP. So they have the goals and the number of sessions, everything that is laid out. So all you have to do is do the therapy, document for it, and show progress, and report. If not, report what happened. So that's how you do IEP. Yes. What to do if the net connection is disrupted mid-session? How to wind up the going up session? Yes. So this is a very good question. This is something that you and the parents need to decide before you all start with teletherapy. So there are some things, like I said, there are a lot of things to teletherapy which I've not discussed in this presentation because of the time. You need to decide some things pre, so before the encounter is the actual term that is used. So before you actually start with teletherapy, you need to decide a few things. So one of the things that you need to decide is if the session is hampered because of, you know, two different reasons which are possible: the child's behavior or the technology. These are the usual two reasons that happen. Then if it's hampered mid session, then what do we do? So usually what I do is that I decide, so if the session is for about 1 hour and I have crossed half an hour, then we count that a session. If I have not, then we don't. That's how I function. But so you can also decide something like that with the parents and then go about it. Of course, if you still end, half an hour, whatever time is left, that does not mean that you just take it away. So because you can't do it on the video, you call the parents and then you tell them what is to be done in the form of homework. So that's how you manage it. Is there any Indian therapy material that is available online? There are a few books that we use, so the soft copy of these books are available, like these stories that we have, like the Hair of the Tortoise and the Crow and all of that. So all of them are there. Pinterest is another thing where a lot of Indian therapy material is there. So you can look it up on Pinterest. Um, there So that is the Indian material. Yes, we are trying to develop more and more Indian material available soft in the soft copy form. So we hope to have it soon. Okay, I am working with children with deaf and blind, so same of the children have partial hearing loss. How can you give teletherapy? I have not worked with um, these kind of children, so I cannot give you first-hand information. But yes, I can tell you that for children who are blind, the on-site helper is the work gets doubled. So he should be either sitting with some kind of textures. If the child is in a very low functioning level, if he is higher functioning, then sit with his braille book or something, and then that way you can do the activity. I have not observed or done any of these catered to any of these children, so I cannot give you any more insight than this on this particular population. Is there an adolescent who starts there is an adolescent who starts doing things he wants to do, like playing games or watching videos, whenever he gets a laptop or a mobile? What do you do in this case? Yes, so there are things where you can lock the desktop, it's kind of easy. If you just look it up on a YouTube video, you can find out how to do it. So you can lock it so that the tabs that are open on the computer, only those can be accessed and the rest cannot. So you can do that when you're doing your teletherapy, and then otherwise, of course, you can unlock it. So that is one thing that you can do. I'm looking for tele-session for high-functioning autistic child who has severe behavioral issues. Even the parent can't control. What can we do in this case? You can take help of the occupational therapist. Ask what you can do to reduce these behaviors. Whatever activities they suggest, you can use those same activities in speech to achieve your speech goals. So for example, this kind of a child, if he is really, really hyperactive, then you can give him some distractors in his hand, which he can keep doing, so that his energy is getting drained over there, and then he can do the teletherapy. So if you work with the occupational therapist, then you will get an answer to this question. Okay, so my kid follows up when I speak a word, only that he is busy with other tasks. Is it possible that one day he will be able to speak fluently? I will not be able to give you an answer with only that much information. A lot of more assessments are required. But if you keep doing speech therapy, I'm sure that he will be progressing in his speech. Okay. In the case of asynchronous sessions, which platform can be used for receiving the videos of the child, considered the security and the encryption rule? Yes, again, a very good question. Through mail is the best, so that everything is secured. Even the most important documents of ours that we send, the most private documents, we send it through mail. So through mail is the best form, and that way you can keep a track of those videos also. So I do it through mail. Okay. How does ABA and RDA therapy help autism children? Please brief us about them. Okay. So ABA is applied behavioral therapy, and it's something that the speech therapists do along with. I mean, it's a method that the speech therapists do, and in this, it is a lot of child-centered. Sorry, a lot of uh, you know task-related therapy. So you do this task and then followed by this. So that's how it goes. And because it is rigorous and it has drills and those things, then it can help the child with autism grow. Can we hold back reinforcement if the child had disrupted mid session and I have to finish therapy, or should we continue reinforcing? If yes, what about the untouched goals, extended sessions, carryovers, reduced time allocations, change therapy session arrangement, or anything else to factor in the goals I feel I can't finish if I stick to the original plan? Okay, so I would say do the same thing that you do on site. Okay, so let's say that if I had to ask you the same question, if you were doing the therapy on site, what would you do if the child has disrupted the session because of some behavior? Would you still reinforce the child? So I think if you answer those questions, then they are the same for teletherapy, and they will answer most of your questions. Yes, I'm a parent of a 4-year-old minimally verbal child, and where and how do I start with teletherapy in India? Where will I find a list of certified Indian teletherapists? Okay, so like I said, all SLPs I think are allowed to do teletherapy. A list you can find on ISHA or on RCI. You can also contact any one of the therapists. You can tell where you are, and we can help you out further how to do therapy. So yes. Is it possible to have your contact for further information and details? Yes, I will surely share it with you. Can parents do parents need to do the teletherapy course? You don't need to do it. You can learn it by and by, but if you wish to do it, there is a course on the Sunny Day website that I showed you. So it completely depends on you. If you feel that you're learning, you know, session by session, then that's great. If you think that you need to do more, you need to learn more, then you can look up the website and do the course. Can we make our own therapy material on computer for Indian languages as a parallel to the ones that are already available? Especially, I'm talking about reading material. If yes, how can I insert the created material within the teletherapy session? Yes, of course you can do it. So I'll tell you how I started in my initial days. So most of the material I had was obviously in the printed form, and I used to literally take photos of it on my phone and transfer it to the computer and then just share screen. So I would request all of you to please look up these video conferencing softwares and just play around with it, so you will understand what I mean by share screen and how simple it is. It is as simple as sending a WhatsApp message to someone. It's really simple. So you can just share screen and project that material to the opposite person. So it's that simple. About making your own material, of course you can make your own material. There is no harm, there is no rule, no one says that you cannot. It is as simple as going into Word, making your material, and maybe you want to change it into a PDF format so that it does not move when you're actually presenting it. Even a Word format is absolutely fine when you do share screen. So there is no harm, and you definitely can do this. Yes. How do I organize a teletherapy session on video conferencing sites, especially since I will be the one holding the conference? Any tips on arranging for actual setting up of the video conferencing sessions? Yes. So abroad, what they do is they send mails. Because I think they do a lot of mails, but I don't think we really mail so much. So what I do is that I send an SMS or a WhatsApp message or whatever me and the parent are comfortable, talking on, and I give a reminder saying that okay, you have a session at this time, and then 10 minutes prior I message again saying that okay, we'll be starting at this time. Also along with that, I uh, list out the things that we will be requiring for today's session, so that the parents can remove those things and keep. So that is one thing that you can do. Some of the video conferencing softwares will also give you reminders that you have a conference at this time or a meeting at this time. So that is also available, but I'm not really comfortable with that. So I just write down my sessions in my diary, and then I message my patients that okay, we'll be meeting at this time. This is a reminder. Thanks again for sharing your experience in this presentation. Thank you so much. Can only materials or kits parents use? Can only material or kit parents use teletherapy, or is it necessary to do a course? No, you can do teletherapy. So I believe that you're a parent, so you can do teletherapy with the clinician even without doing the proper course. Um, if you are a clinician, then I would say that you do a few mock sessions before you feel confident enough to do it, and then you can do it. Yeah. One of my patients makes continuous sounds or rhyming How should I instruct patients to engage him in the session? Again, you need to, so this is a behavioral or sensory issue need, so you need to talk to your occupational therapist. It is good if you use the same, same activity that they are doing in your speech session, so that it's easier for you, for the child to understand. Uh, so I don't know if I've answered your question. Speech therapy is going on in English where everyone at home is speaking the mother tongue. Is that okay? That you and your therapist need to discuss. If you as a parent and the therapist are okay with doing therapy in English, then that's okay. We always say that doing therapy in the mother tongue is great, but it's again your decision. Okay, here's a big question. One of my client is autistic with a tendency to throw tantrums. His parents wish to continue therapy with me during the lockdown. I would like to do teletherapy with the client since he seems to have a lot of potential. The issue is that the child generally starts crying to seek attention in front of the parents. Is it fine when I at least start the therapy one-on-one with him and allow the parent to join later on? This is my general technique, using the first few minutes of rapport building to avoid disruption. Even extra clinical activities have been tweaked about a lot. In teletherapy, the parent will be the one in control. I will not be physically in the session. How do I manage the situation? Absolutely. If you feel that the child will do better without the parents, then you can obviously start the teletherapy with him one-on-one and then let the children come in. So the parents are acting as on-site helpers to help the child. But if you feel that it's not helping the child, then you can ask the parents to sit aside. It's absolutely fine. Yes. Okay. How do I manage the child's mood swings during the teletherapy activities? So, this is something that is challenging for all of us. So I think it is best that in the initial sessions, at least, you start with activities that the child likes to do, because teletherapy is new for the child. It's new for the parent. So it's best that you start with activities which the child enjoys, so that he his mood is okay, and then slowly you can alternate between the sessions. So that's how you can work about that. Which is the best software for teletherapy? It depends on what the child or the adult requires, upon the needs. So Zoom is one thing that you can use. It's really nice, it's user friendly, it's good. You can use GoToMeeting, it's really nice. So these are the two that you can use. Yes. Okay, I'm working with the child population. Bearing this in mind, how should I plan out my teletherapy schedule so that neither are my clients not inconvenienced or I burnt out? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to read that again because I did not understand. Bearing this in mind, how should I plan out my teletherapy schedule so that neither are my clients inconvenienced nor I burnt out? Okay, so I think what you can do is you can take breaks in between the session. That's how you can do teletherapy for children all day throughout. So that way you are not burnt out and you can give the best to all the clients. So one thing that we need to do is so if it's a long day with all children, then maybe you want to take breaks for yourself in between, and that also helps you to arrange for the material for the next client. So that is one thing that you can do. Yes. How is it useful for multiple disabilities? For multiple disabilities, by that I understand that you mean comorbidity, right? So for, like I think you had asked before, for the deaf and the blind, so that is really challenging. I don't know whether it will really, give out really nice outcomes, because I have not personally worked with any case as such, so I don't know. But you can try it maybe. If my client has been kept totally off screen, it has been something I noted in most of my clients. Okay, would starting teletherapy for such a client affect his performance? What would be told to the parent to lift up the total offline environment? How can the parents manage in such instances? Okay. So I understand that a lot of children are kept on total off-screen schedules, and if in these kind of, if the parents really want the child to be that way, then you can do online sessions. Okay, again, like I said, teletherapy we are providing to those who we cannot provide therapy. um, we cannot cater to their needs in easily, and that is why we want to provide teletherapy. And so if the parents feel that if you're doing teletherapy and it's interrupting the offline environment, then you can do on site. But if you feel that that is the only way for you to do therapy, and that is going to help the child, or if you feel even if that is not the only way but that is going to help the child, then maybe you should try to convince the parents to maybe allow the child to give like a 1 hour or a half an hour of screen time, if that is okay. Ma'am, I want to start an online summer camp for children with special need. Any idea how to go about it? Wow, that's a brilliant idea. Um, any idea how to go about it? So I think you need to form a team first, and then everyone needs to sit down and talk about it, and address to which populations you will want to cater to. And yeah, it should probably go in that terms. But first is the team that you will work with. What to do if the net connection is disrupted mid session? Okay, I think I answered that one, so we'll skip it. A couple of us attending are working in Chennai. Nishta Integrated Neurodevelopment Center. We are offering teletherapy. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. So there was someone from Chennai, I believe, who was asking for teletherapy in Chennai, and there is Nishta Integrated Neurodevelopment Center. So you can go and they are offering teletherapy, so you can take help from them. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Can I integrate musical therapy in teletherapy? If yes, how? Yes, of course you can. It's really nice. It depends on what kind of music the child likes. Some children really like very hard music. So if that kind of helps the child, then you can use it as reinforcement. There are times when we've used that as reinforcement. So after you finish a task, then you listen to this. There are times where it just relaxes the child. So we can use it before the session or soon after the session if the child is completely taxed out. So depends on how the child reacts to that music, whether he gets relaxed or he gets happy listening to it. What is his reaction? Can I schedule a meeting on video conferencing sites? Setting up the webinar in the sense creating a meeting. Yes, yes, you can create a meeting. Yes. Thanks for answering all of our questions and being patient. You're welcome. What do I do to create a conductive environment in my therapy session if the parents are authoritative or they are okay? So if you feel that the parents are not able to cater to the needs of the child because of any particular reason, then you can you can change the on-site helper, or you can counsel the parents so that the environment becomes more conductive. So I think the first thing will be counseling the parents to make them understand the needs of the child. And if they understand that, that's great. Otherwise, you can work with another on-site helper. You can train someone else. Nowadays, we have come across that Zoom app is leaking data. Is there any other app for teletherapy? Yes, even I came across that, and that is why there have been, questions about using that. So GoToMeeting is another one. There is WebEx, and there is video. So you can use those. Okay. So I think I've answered all questions. If I have missed any, I'm really sorry. I will definitely answer them later on. And I hope you liked the presentation. If there were any technical faults or you couldn't hear me, I think we will be sending you the webinar by mail so you can see it at that point of time. Thank you very much.